So I'm Dr. Peter Jones, and I'm the Chief Scientific Officer at the Van Andel Research Institute in Grand Rapids in Michigan. The AACR New Frontiers in Cancer Research Conference, which is focused on Africa, will be held in Cape Town in South Africa in January 2017. It's an Africa-wide conference, and I think Africa has been neglected largely. And so now is a very good time to allow African scientists and physicians and policymakers the opportunity to meet, to see what's going on in cancer research right at the moment and cancer treatment. So it's a very, very important conference, and I think it's taken a long time to get everything together in such a way that we could put this conference together. When I was a graduate student, I was working in Zimbabwe, which is a landlocked country in the middle of Africa. And just before I graduated, there was an international scientific congress, which was held in Mozambique, of all places. And for me, it was completely transformative because it was the chance to meet people in person who were Nobel Prize winners or people who had made amazing breakthroughs, and you'd only read about them, and to actually meet them and to hear them talking was very transformative and completely galvanized my career. So I'm hoping we can accomplish that to some extent in this African meeting that we're sponsoring, and provide young African scientists with the opportunity to meet the leading researchers in particular areas, and hopefully it will stimulate them to embark on a career in cancer research. The conference will have broad areas of interest. For example, there will be sessions on immunotherapy, genomic medicine, epigenetics, DNA repair, and things of that nature, so that young African scientists and more established African scientists can get a feeling of what's going on in these particular areas. And then at the same time, there will be some ones which are very focused to cancers which are pretty prevalent in Africa. For example, liver cancer or cervical cancer. There is also a session on prostate cancer and also on breast cancer. So these are, areas which have often been overlooked. So we think that by having sessions that are very targeted, at the same time as people will have the ability to hear and see firsthand what's going on in genomic medicine, for example, will be very important. Young investigators from, we hope, all over Africa. Remember, it's not just South Africa, it's the entire African continent, which has many, many different countries with many, many different climates and political systems, etc. Those scientists would have the opportunity in a local environment to meet the world experts in particular areas, rather than getting on a plane to come over to the AACR annual meeting, for example, which can be prohibitively expensive for people in Africa. So the idea is to get them an exposure, in person of what's going on, and give them the opportunity to actually meet with luminaries in the field, actually go and shake their hand and talk to them and interact with them on that basis.